I'm grateful for what we're building here at Chalk It Up Sports, but I'm even more grateful for the connections I've made over the many, many years. And I can't wait to speak to this brother because all he's done is ever give me the jewels, put the battery in my back, motivate me, inspire me, tell me that, hey, whatever you need, I got you. Just make sure you give me a heads up. You feel me? So let me make sure I give this brother his flowers. 10-year NFL vet, played offensive line, 118 games played with 62 starts. I mean, that's a career for your ass. Coming out of Kansas State University, drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in the second round, and also played for the Lions, the Browns, the Broncos, the Packers, the Giants, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That brother made sure he had a job. As a matter of fact, he is a Super Bowl champion, winning Super Bowl 40 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You also heard him as a color commentator, calling many, many college football games. You've seen him every day on NBC Sports Philadelphia as an analyst covering your Philadelphia Eagles. Two-time Emmy winner, member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Y'all know who it is, the big dog. Barrett Brooks, what's good, big dog?
What's up, man? How you doing, man? Everything good?
Good, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed by the best. I'm excited to talk to you, big dog, because it's been a while, and your perspective is something I value tremendously, man. But again,
appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
How are you? How's the family? How's everything going?
Good. Real good, man. This is my time, man. This is where, things people thinking, football's over with. I tell you what, the NFL maximizes all they can from each and every day of the NFL football calendar. I mean, 365 days, they always got something. If you're not working with the draft, you're working with the combine, free agencies, notable signings. I mean, you name it, they make sure they maximize it.
Yeah, and I know this is your favorite time of year as far as looking at the offensive lineman. That's your lane, man. I always love listening to you talk about the offensive line because it always feels like a masterclass. You played double-digit years in the NFL at the position. For you at least, when you're looking at offensive linemen in the upcoming draft or what the Philadelphia Eagles needs are offensive line, what are some of the things you're looking for that fits into this mold?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter with Vic, when you have a guy like Stalin. Stalin takes things to another level. They call it Stalin University for a reason. He can take the most unathletic guy and make him a player. That's why everybody that leaves here usually becomes very successful. They're definitely successful here. They call it Stalin University because you enroll in there, you get a master's class. You know what I'm saying? So not everybody's going to be a valedictorian like, the likes of Lane Johnson and, Jason Peters that was there and, guys like that. But you at least go out there and have fire and colors. What they bring to the table is how they set fundamentals, what they're thinking, how they approach the game. All this stuff is taught with Coach Stalin. He's probably the best coach that's not a head coach or a coordinator in the NFL. No question.
Yeah. It's interesting because one of the reasons that this Philadelphia Eagles team has always been successful and why they even took their success to new heights this past season in 2024 to 2025 season is because of how dominant that offensive line was. I mean, you had behemoths. You had gods amongst men on that whole line. Lane Johnson, Mekhi Becton at guard, which made him a unicorn. Cam Jurgens, who took his game to another level. With a Pro Bowl season at center. Landon Dickerson, right? A hog maw. I mean, the dude is insane. The enforcer, a warden. You're right. Jordan Mailata, the Aussie. I mean, that offensive line is just phenomenal from top to bottom. When you think about the way this offensive line played in 2024, and then you couple that with the season Saquon had, I mean, just walk me through what you were seeing throughout the season and how that offensive line went through its fair share of growing pains with a pretty new interior at center and right guard.
First of all, to have a guy like Jason Kelce retire, and then a guy steps in and becomes a Pro Bowler the very next year, just goes to show, Stalin University is just put him on another level. He was handpicked by Kelce. Kelce said, hey, this is the guy I want to come in and take over when I leave. He has everything that I have, but he may be a little bigger than Jason Kelce. I know he's a lot stronger than Jason, and he plays the game a little more reckless as far as, coming off the ball and playing more aggressive than Jason. And we're talking about Jason that's going to be a golden jacket guy. He was a Pro Bowler, all pro, you name it. He was by far the best center for a 5-year period that he was playing. So, you plug and play him in, and what do you have? a guy that comes in and makes the Pro Bowl his first year, takes over and it's business as usual. Now, that goes to show you, you got the biggest offensive line in NFL. What does that do? You get haters. The biggest thing they're talking about down at the owners' meetings is, should they outlaw, not owners' meeting, but the official meeting,
right?
Should they outlaw the tush push? Well, there's no secret of how good they are, because the reason they're that good, they draft big offensive linemen. They bring in guys that are big. When you got the biggest offensive lineman coming off the rock, these other teams need to go do the same thing. Go get you a big offensive line. Go get you a quarterback that squats 600 pounds. Then you can run the tush push also. But, they're trying to say, it's unsafe. People are getting hurt. But it shows nobody got hurt during the season. So it has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It's just how they run that play, what the personnel they run that play with, which makes them so successful. Which brings me to now Mekhi Becton. First-round draft choice by the Jets. When he was playing, he played all right. They were trying to label him a bust. He takes a one-year deal with the Eagles, and they make him a guard. I'm going to be serious. I didn't think that he was going to be able to come in and play guard. You're talking about a guy that played left tackle. He started left tackle. They move him on the right side, put him at guard. He's 6'7", 365, 366 pounds. And he's playing guard like he was drafted to play guard. That just goes to show how Stalin University gets those guys going in the right direction. How everybody has confidence in his offensive line because he's coaching them to another level. He was playing at a really good level for this Eagles team. Now, I'm not going to say he was, all pro, but I will tell you this. There were times, he was just too big of a man to run around. And it's different. It's a different, being when you're in there playing a guard rather than tackle. Tackle, you set out. You got a little more time to be an athlete before you start the aggressive nature of hitting a guy and settling down and fighting him at the point of attack. At the guard position, you're fighting in a phone booth. You're right there.
You play both.
Yeah, I played both. I played center also, guard, center, and tackle. So you gotta tighten your mindset up that all right, you got to battle, because that's the fastest way to the quarterback is the gap between you and the center. So for him to come in and play at the level he played in was amazing. Hey, how's everybody doing? Yeah, I'm back in the fold.
I've been trying to tell people, listen, man, like I'm doing all right. It's terms of my connections, man.
Listen, it out. Yeah.
Listen, I treat people well, they treat me well, man. It's all about relationships in this thing, right? And
right.
You again, like I said, like your football mind is something I really value. And just hearing you break down, Mekhi Becton, how he was able to transform, how Stalin was able to get the most out of him, right? How Stalin was able to turn Cam Jurgens into a Pro Bowl center, right? What he was able to do with Mailata, turn him from a 7th round rugby player to a all-pro left tackle. Landon Dickerson, the highest paid guard in football. I mean, this Philadelphia Eagles team has always made it a mission to invest in the trenches, right? That's been who they've been. That's been who they've always been, right? That's been the mantra since Andy Reid was in the building. That was the code of conduct. We invest in the trenches. We build our team from the inside out, not the outside in, like the Cincinnati Bengals are trying to do right now. But when you think about what they normally do versus what they normally don't do, a la paying a running back the kind of money they paying Saquon right now, right?
Paying a linebacker.
Paying a linebacker in Zack Baun, right? When you think about who they've been versus who they've shown us to be today and so on and so forth, like, how have you been adjusting your way of evaluating Howie Roseman, this team, how they build the roster, personnel decisions, how they allocate the money? How have you been trying to adjust your scope and how you look at this team?
Well, you have to change the level of what you're thinking. After you pay the quarterback, that's when everything changes for a team. You can no longer, go out there and deal with free agency like they did when they won their first Super Bowl back in 2017-18 season. You got to make sure that you go out and bring in you bring in free agents like they did in 2018. They brought in, 17. They brought in guys, Alshon Jeffries, Timmy Jernigan's, all these hired assassins, Long, Chris Long. They brought in, both the running backs. You know what I'm saying? They just brought in a bunch of hired assassins and won a Super Bowl. He was a great talent evaluator and bringing in free agents. It's a totally different team from what they had in 17-18. Now they come in, and these are draft picks that are doing it for them. Even after they paid the quarterback, they still were able to go out and get enough on defense. And those defenders that they did get were, guys that are one-year deals. You're talking about a guy like Zack Baun. He paid on a prove-it deal, and he eventually got a reward for $51 million. Was it 4 years, 3 or 4 years?
Yep. 54, 3 years.
Yep. He deserved that. He was, I thought he was defensive player of the year, but everybody thought different. They gave it to the corner from Denver.
Surtain, yeah.
And he balled too, but the level that you saw Zack Baun play at, man, that was amazing. And then when you tie in, you've already paid your quarterback. You can't allocate a lot of money, but if you look at it, they're heavy laden contracts on the offensive side of the ball. They're all heavily. I mean, the whole offensive line is being paid, with the exception of center. The tight ends paid. Running back was paid, not paid as he is now, but paid also.
Mm-hmm.
And the quarterback's paid, and both receivers on long-term deals, and they're paid. So everybody on the offensive side of the ball, they spent the money. That's where they said, all right, we got to allocate money here. So they had to do it the hard way. They had to go out, draft well, and the guys they did pay were guys that had prove-it deals to get them where they are. So, that's just how he's showing the capabilities of being a guy that can be well-versed at both ways of doing things. Picking talent free agency, but at this point, really, really picking talent in the draft that can come in and play. How in the world was he able to get those two cornerbacks in the first round? That was amazing.
That's unheard of.
Amazing.
Unheard of. You're right. And, he's essentially saying we're spending all this money on offense because that's where the league is. And we're going to invest draft cap. We're going to just find money capital on offense. We're going to just invest draft capital on defense. And if you're elite on that defensive side of the ball, we will definitely pay you. But if we don't consider you elite or a game changer or a difference maker, we feel like we can replace you. That's why Josh Sweat's not here anymore. That's why Milton Williams is not here anymore. Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, right? A lot of guys that we felt like was already leaving.
CJ got traded.
CJ got traded, right? And we felt like he brought something unique to the table, but the Eagles looked at it from the perspective of, hey, we leveraged what we needed to get from you, right? You helped bring the Super Bowl here. We feel more comfortable moving on from you and investing the resources elsewhere. And then the reasons he left, we could debate that. Was it about money? Was it about cultural fit and just personalities being divisive? Whatever it may be, we won't know. But he's showing you exactly how he wants to build his defense. We're gonna bring in guys that are 25, 26 coming off of their rookie deals that have been forgotten about, that are trying to prove it. Guys that come from good programs, guys that are early draft picks, and we're going to have those guys compete with the guys we already drafted. Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche, they're here to compete with Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith, right? Adoree Smith, the veteran, or Dory Jackson, the veteran, he's going to compete with Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks for that starting spot. You know what I mean? And it goes on and on from there, right? The two tight ends. We don't know what Dallas Goedert's future is because the rumors is that they're trying to move him. But you bring those two tight ends in to compete with Grant Cockatell or E.J. Jenkins, whoever you got in the roster. So they're trying to instill competition on that defense side of the ball, keep guys honest, and trust that they have the coaching staff in the building. I mean, let's talk about that, right? The coaching staff that they've been able to build from the Sean Desai moment, the Matt Patricia moment, to the Vic Fangio crew. I mean, Fangio, Clint Hurt, Bobby King, Joe Casper, Christian Parker, Roy Anderson. It goes on and on. Jeremiah Washburn. They've made sure that if we're going to build this defense this way, we got to have the right people in place to not only coach but teach. Speak on how important that is to try to balance that between somebody who can call the plays but also can employ the right people to teach and develop these guys.
Well, you look good. A guy like Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio has always been a teacher, and that's why he left. He left Miami. Miami was an older team, and it felt as though they knew it all. You know what I'm saying? They didn't need his coaching style. They didn't need to be told what to do. He gets out of there. He comes up here. He gets a young defense. They went from being the oldest defense before he got there to having the youngest defense in a matter of one off season. That just goes to show how Howie just totally flipped the roster. Then you turn around, you get these guys in a locker room. You have to teach them your defense. They didn't know what they were doing. They had two defensive coordinators the year before. He teaches them his defense, spends the time, breaks it down, and what does it do? It puts people in a position where they can play faster, play more aggressive, and not worry about anything because they already know how to play the defense. He's taught them how to play. That coaching style that he used was very effective to get these guys to play at a fast level. Zack Baun comes in. He didn't know that defense. He coached them up, got them to where it was second nature to him. That way he was able to go out and make plays. There were times being zone, they'd be in zone. His zone would be in the flats. There's nobody out there in the flats. Why would he go out to the flats? Well, 2 years ago, that's what they would have done. I got to be in the flats. I'm going to go into the flats. And then they're running everything underneath. Instead, he doesn't see anybody in the flats that could be, a threat to him. He fades off, is able to pick a pass off because he didn't just do exactly what the defense told him to do. He left where he was supposed to be at because there was nobody there. Why cover nothing when he can help in the pass? Those are all things that come with learning and understanding how to play the defense. You look at everywhere that Coach Fangio left. When he was with the 49ers, two of the best linebackers in the league, two of the best safeties in the league. Why? Because Willis and Navarro Bowman, those guys made sure that they knew exactly what to do and how to do it. Dante Whitner, Whitner, he wanted to say he wanted to call him Hitler, but he said the best thing that he learned from Coach Fangio is just to listen, learn, and draw from the knowledge that he had. It made him a better player. He could play the game faster because he knew exactly what he was supposed to do. These are all things that, players think that they know too much. You never know too much. You've always got to be evolving. You always got to be learning. As soon as you think that you know everything, that's when you really understand you know nothing. So it was great for him to have that have that young team on the defensive side of the ball that he can nurture them and get them and put them in great positions to be successful. Even when he was with the Saints, he was the linebacker coach. He had the best linebackers in the league. We're talking about, Swilling, all those guys, Mills. I mean, those are the best linebacking cores ever put together. As long as you're sitting back and learning his defense, learning what he's telling you, it makes you play faster because now you can read and react and do things at a high level because you know what's going on. You understand what you're supposed to do. You understand what the defense is supposed to do. You understand what the backside is doing if you're a defensive lineman. The linebacker knows what the safeties are going to do because he has to call the plays and know what the front line is going to do. All of these things make you a great defense because as long as you know what to do, you can play faster.
And that's what stood out to me about this defense all throughout the year. Obviously, they took their lumps those first 4 weeks. They had the bye week in week 5. And then from week six and on, that defense just took off like gangbusters. And the thing is, we saw a sliver of how good that defense can be. I believe in the week 3 matchup against the Saints, we saw a microcosm of just how dominant, how shut down they could be. Then they had the setback against the Buccaneers, and then they doubled back week 6, and they just took off from there. I mean, everything you're saying, the communication, the trust, execution, chemistry, guys knowing where they're supposed to be more than anything else, guys knowing when to freelance, when not to freelance, being so confident in the scheme, being so confident with Vic Fangio's, being so confident when he's teaching that you're not out there thinking, you're just reading and reacting. I think going into that season last year, we all talked about, okay, we know the offense is going to be what it's going to be, right? You ask Saquon, they should be a top 5, top 10 offense easily, right? But the defense, because they were so bad in 2023, I think in 2024, a lot of us just said, hey, if you could just be average, then you got something going with this team. They were the number 1 defense in football. They went from being arguably one of the worst and one of the oldest to one of the best and one of the youngest, right? Walk me through at which point in the season where you said to yourself, oh, no, this defense is for real.
It actually started out the first game. For them to go in the red zone and just give up 3 points when Jalen threw an interception, put him in harm's way, And for him to come out with just 3 points, that'd have been 7 the year before. Them gaining understanding on how to play his defense allowed them to start playing faster. And then when you take Avonte Maddox out of the slot corner position, you put in Cooper DeJean, bigger, stronger, and faster player, young player, but took the time to learn the defense the way he's supposed to, and the confidence that Vic Fangio showed in him and threw the catch a sink at him, and it didn't waver. He didn't waver at all. Once he stepped on the field at that slot corner position, that whole defense took off. They were able to run whatever they wanted to run because they had really good defenders out there. I mean, from day one, Quinyon Mitchell was the starter, and he played that way. I never seen a young kid come in and play as well as he did. And I played with Bobby Taylor.
The confidence was booming.
Oh man, it was crazy how good this kid was. And Bobby came in, when I came in, we were both, second round picks for the Eagles. I started and he started, and he didn't play. Man, they brought him in to stop Michael Irvin. Quinyon could stop anybody in the league. They stopped even throwing to his side. So for him to trust those young guys, put Cooper DeJean at the slot corner position, and let him grow, take his bumps and bruises, and just ball the way he did, it really had that defense the ability to take off now. Before that game, those first 4 games, teams were going out playing, pitch and catch, because they played so far off the ball. Well, then he had that confidence in them. They started coming up and playing tighter defense. When they played tighter defense, they were rerouting receivers. They were taking that first read away because they're so good and understood what to do, that it changed on how these teams were trying to, pick on that defense. And from that time forward, they just took the game over with. Those 2 young kids and a veteran and Slay just took it over. It was hard to really go out there and have a decent passing game, because now that gave the defensive line a chance to go make plays. That's exactly what it was. And once they stopped putting Huff on the field, I'm sorry, man, but and he's going to have to play this year, man. And I hope that he, takes his head out his ass and starts playing now. It's not like you stop learning how to be a pass rusher. I think he was so
he looked like he never
confused.
fit. To me, he looked like he never quite fit in with the team.
Right.
Now, granted, Fangio had him standing up a lot earlier in the season. Then he finally was able to put his hands in the dirt, and that's when you saw him starting to really get back on track. And then he got hurt. So I still think that he has something, but there's rumors circulating that he may be on the trade block if he's even tradable with that contract coming off that season. I don't know how.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So
didn't he playoffs? He might have got what? He might have got what? 20, 30 plays in the entire playoffs. Yeah, he paid this kid $51 million, man.
Yeah, 34 guaranteed. Last year's contract and this year's contract. This year's it's guaranteed. So at this point, you're already paying him, man. You're already paying him. I just have a hard time believing he's as tradable as people think he is. So I'm foreseeing him being on this roster. But overall, you're right, though. This defense, the confidence that Vic Fangio was showing in them and the confidence they had in each other was just insane. They had a really good balance of veteran leadership and youth as well. And a lot of these young guys that came in kind of had like this veteran feel to them. Cooper and Quinyon had like this. They seemed like they've been there before. They felt seasoned, just their personalities, how laid back they were, the confidence in their ability. That really stood out to me about them. But that Super Bowl, man, I got to pick your brain about just how that game went defensively, especially because last time we spoke was the offseason last year, and a lot transpired leading up to that moment. A lot of people felt like the Eagles going into the season, right? This is the funny thing about people going into the season. You never heard super team. Some people had this team not even winning their division. Some people had them not making the playoffs. When they signed Saquon, they didn't put the same respect on it that they give it now. Obviously, Zack Baun and Mekhi Becton, they were shots in the dark, right? You can't really foresee that. But with this roster as it was currently built, nobody said super team. But they did what they did in the regular season. They did what they did in the playoffs. That defense was very dominant. I want to say in the playoffs, they forced 10 turnovers in the playoffs, 10, 11 turnovers. But even the 4 games prior to that, I think they forced like a grand total of like 12, 13 total. They were on a heater defensively going into that playoffs. And what they've shown over throughout the playoff run, holding Green Bay to 10 points, holding the Rams to, I believe, 22 points. Well, 20 points offensively because they got 2 points off of safety, but holding their offense to 20 points, holding the Commanders to 23 points, right? Then you go to the Super Bowl and you hold Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid-led offense to 22 points. I mean,
no, there was 0 points in the going to
correct.
the third quarter. In third quarter, it was 0 points.
Yes, there was a point in the game where it was what 24-0.
Yep.
And then a point in the game where it was 34-6. I mean, the defense was locked down. Walk me through what you saw in that Super Bowl. What was your perspective? Did it go exactly how you thought it would go? Just give me all the emotions and the feelings and the perspective you had from that day, man.
Well, you know what? I can say this because I'm a man of my word, and all I kept saying throughout the season, like, let's start from day one.
Okay.
They played in Brazil on September 5th. That first Monday, the game on Thursday. That first Monday. Oh, they played on Friday, right? Was it Friday they played?
It was a Friday game, I believe.
Yeah, it was a Friday game.
Yeah.
That Monday, I have a show called Birds Huddle from 6 to 6:30, Monday through Friday. I'm on Birds Huddle, and I say, look, the first Monday, I know this is game week. I'm hype. I'm ready to rock and roll. But I'm telling y'all right now, if the Eagles allow Saquon Barkley to do what he does, if he can win the rushing title, the Eagles will win the Super Bowl. I said, it's not get to the Super Bowl, he's going to win the Super Bowl. And I said that 17 games in a row, all the way through the season. Saquon wins the rushing title, they're winning the Super Bowl. I kept saying it, and you can go back through and watch the shows. I said it every single week. They got tired of me saying it. And everybody looked like I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a clown or something. And then everybody caught amnesia about me saying that. Even during the playoffs, I said, man, they are playing at such a dominant rate. I said, this Super Bowl is going to be, they're going to murder them in this Super Bowl. I said, this is not even going to be close. Once again, people looked at me like I was crazy. I said, yeah, they're going to beat them by double digits. Mm-hmm. They are a better team than this Kansas City Chiefs team. They're going to beat the hell out of them. And they kept telling me, oh, it's the coaching. It's the coaching. Man, it had nothing to do with the coaches. Andy Reid was not on that field. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Mahomes wish he'd have been out on that field. Maybe he could play tackle or guard or something. You know what I'm saying? Try to stop them boys up front. But they just knew that they were just going to totally dominate. When I talked to players throughout the week, the Super Bowl, and they kept telling me, B, it's not going to be close. B, they're going to kill them. We are going to totally destroy this team. They should not be on the same field as I am. That's what the players are telling me. That's what they're saying to me. And then when I said, everybody looking like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know something. So then when they do it, now they're like, now everybody gets amnesia that I said that.
I'm with you.
Come on, man. I just tell the truth, what I say. Just like I would tell you guys now. Right now, it's March 21st. This is my brother's birthday, March 21st. This is what I'm seeing. I really think that Jalen Hurts is going to step his game up and be the quarterback of the future. He will win the MVP this year, and they will make it to the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not going to be as confident as I said they're going to win it, but they will be in the Super Bowl this year, and Jalen Hurts will be MVP this year. I just said it. March 21st. You heard it here first.
March 21st. Y'all heard it. We got an exclusive, y'all. March 21st.
My brother's birthday. Yep.
Exclusive. Jalen Hurts, B. Brooks locking it in. MVP. Super Bowl bound. I like it. I like it because, Jalen Hurts is somebody that doesn't really get the respect he deseres and how he plays the position because he doesn't play the position like they want him to play the position. You know what I mean? They don't. Or he doesn't. And Devontae Smith recently, he was on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with Carmelo Anthony. And they asked him about the whole top 4, top 5 quarterback thing. And, he said, listen, I know Darius Slay. I know my man Big Play Slay was talking about top 4 with Mahomes and Burrow, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I get all that. But if you ask me, it's a top 5. Jalen Hurts is in that category. I mean, the way he's able to elevate his game, the way he's able to elevate his game in those crucial moments, especially in the playoffs, that NFC Championship game and that Super Bowl. I mean, come on, those are all-time performances from an Eagles quarterback. I mean, those performances rival the Nick Foles performance in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. And I've always said this, right? And I want your thoughts on this. You know, Jalen Hurts may not be as talented, quote unquote, or traditionally as talented as those other guys that talk about. But for the sake of argument, I'll say this. I would much rather have a quarterback. I'd much rather have a B+ quarterback that can elevate his game to A+ in the big moments than an A+ quarterback that shrinks to B+ in the big moments. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to say this. Jalen Hurts, I'm going to tell everybody, he may not be an elite quarterback, but he is an elite winner.
Mm-hmm.
You can coin that phrase. He's not an elite quarterback. You may not think so, but he is an elite winner. By any means necessary, he gets it done. Out of everybody that's in his draft class, who's won a Super Bowl from his draft class?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen.
Who got the most career wins from his draft class? Jalen. most playoff wins? Jalen.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, at this point, you know what I'm saying? You can call me whatever you want to call me, just as long as you call me a winner.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Just as long as you call me winner. Man, so he's gonna be ready. He'll be ready.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And again, I'm grateful for the time you give me, man. I just got a couple more I got to get out of you, man. Once again, shout out to you for just offering your time up. I know you're a busy man.
You know I'm at work. I'm at NBC right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like I know NBC, man.
In the closet. I'm literally in the closet.
Oh shit.
In NBC, yeah, I'm in the closet.
I'm in the storage. But man, like I love the work you do. I love your perspective of football, man. It's always a rational perspective, man. It's always reasonable, and I think that's what's missing a lot these days in sports talk. Is just the obvious, right? You know, they always talk about guys throwing off platform, or he could throw the ball like this. He could throw a no look pass. Does the motherfucker win? Can he win? Can he win? Can you depend on him in big games? Is he accurate? You know what I mean? Yep. Can he move the chains? Like we get so wrapped up in all this sexy football talk, like it's a beauty pageant. When the reality is the game is very simple: convert third downs, put points on the board, win the football games. Last time I checked, my guy does that at an efficient rate.
Bro, at the end of the day, whenever they're in a sticky situation and the game's on the line, they can always rely on Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. The defense knows that Jalen Hurts gonna go down and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And you got an offensive line like that who, when push come to shove, they might have been bad all day. Once they turn around and he looks at them and say, "Hey, let's go," they go from getting their ass kicked to ass kicking. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's a difference out there. Anytime you got a back like Saquon Barkley in the backfield, and then you got two Pro Bowl receivers on the outside, two, mind you. I mean, what can you do from an offensive standpoint that, you know what I'm saying, that you know, you can't not call anything. You can call anything you want to call with the offense that they have. Anything, you know what I'm saying? And Howie Roseman, I got to give him his flowers, man. I got to give him his roses.
Mm-hmm.
He's always great at getting guys under fair market value. Now, here they are. They had just signed AJ like a year earlier. Now it's time for the Slim Reaper, Smitty, to get paid. Mm-hmm. He gets paid. And not even a week later, they pay AJ again, understanding the dynamics of how it would have been if he didn't get paid also. But they weren't minding that because now they locked him in long term.
Mm-hmm.
And with the money these receivers are getting right now, did you see what they're getting right now? He set the market right there.
Yeah.
Now everybody else had to jump over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So him and Smitty are happy right now. They're good, but they're not even close to being the highest paid guys anymore
at all.
You know what I mean? So even the quarterback, Jalen is like ranked 10th as far as quarterbacks, as far as the amount of money he's getting paid.
Right. He was the highest paid guy for like 24 hours. And then after that, he's down to 10 or something like that. I mean, you got guys who haven't even gotten close to his resume.
And I love it too. I love it too because You got the Dallases of the world right now.
Mhm.
Dallas, they don't know what they want to do. I mean, how have you not paid your best player on your football team? Michael Parsons should have been paid last year. And Howie would have paid him last year. Come hook or crook, he'd have paid him. You wouldn't have to worry about that. So since they didn't pay him, now he's going and they've already set the market. You know, Cleveland set the market. So you know he's gonna get like 155. You know what I'm saying? 160. Because he's about, you know,
it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane.
It's gonna be crazy. Yeah. So I mean, Michael Parsons, he ain't worried about that. He gonna get that money
from somebody. And that's why that's why I looked at people this offseason, because a lot of people are like, how do you let Milton walk? How do you let Sweat walk? I'm like, do you guys not understand what's on the horizon? You have Jalen Carter in the building. Jalen Carter is about to reset the market at D tackle.
Exactly. We're talking
about
why
would I tie up money with Milton and Sweat when I know for a fact my transcendent player is in the building, still in the rookie deal. He's entering year 3. I want to pay him as soon as they will let me, because I'm not letting that contract sneak up on me. I'm sorry.
You got to be able to do it. Get them under fair market value. You got to get them under fair market value. He did it with all his offensive linemen. He set the market with his quarterback. He set the market with his tight end. He set the market with his receivers. I mean, that's how you do it. You pay guys early. Now they're gonna set the market with Blankenship. They got to pay Blankenship, which is why they had to get rid of CJGJ.
That's interesting, because I saw somebody on my show yesterday say, hey, Reed may get $12 million a year. And I'm like, really? I don't. And then when I did the research after that, $12 million is not even in the top 10 of the contract at safety.
Right.
So I'm like, wait, $12 million. Again, this is after I'm doing the show and somebody said that, and I'm like, nah, Reed probably gonna get between maybe 7 and 9, something like that. And then I did more research, and I'm like, he may get 11 or 12. He may, but yeah, Reed is a really good player, and you I think you're onto something as well with the CJGJ thing. Rumor was he wanted a little bit more money. And they were like, sorry, we're gonna move you before things get a little too crazy. But I think realistically,
exactly what they did.
You may see Reed maybe get between 8 and 11, maybe 12. But yeah, I realized $12 million is not even in the top 10 at the safety position anymore. So I had to recalibrate my perspective on that overnight.
I'm still mad at my mom right now for having me way too early. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been a millionaire right now instead of a thousandaire. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, what is it? Mailata and Lane, they're not even in the top 5 at left tackle as far as average salary anymore, because he paid them so early. You know what I mean? So you're right. Howie always gets ahead of it. Before I let you go, I got one final question, big dog. You know, this Eagles organization, they've had legacy player after legacy player, and they've done right by those players, investing in them, making sure they take care of their bodies, making sure they put money in their pocket. Those guys are giving back by providing Pro Bowl, all pro level play, giving back to the community, being good teammates, good leaders, knowing how to let the young guys lead when it's their time to take over. And I want to get your perspective on Brandon Graham's retirement, because that brother dedicated 15 years to this Eagles organization. I mean, over 70 plus sacks, most games played, I believe, as an Eagle, most years tenured as an Eagle, 2-time Super Bowl champion, a second team All-Pro, a Pro Bowl. The dude has just been a consummate professional, a leader on and off the field, family man. Just give me your perspective on Brandon Graham's legacy in Philadelphia, the emotions you were feeling when he retired. Do you have any signature moments or signature conversations you had with BG?
I just recently, last week I recently was just giving an award for not really an award, but they just congratulated me for being at NBC Sports Philadelphia for the last 10 years. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And the first guy that I interviewed who made an easy transition for me, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, was Brandon Graham. So I was able to chop it up with him my first interview, which showed me I can do this thing. And he made me comfortable. He actually started my TV presence career that day 10 years ago. So,
wow.
I mean, we're talking about a guy, man, he's just as good as a man off the field than on the field. I mean, there's nothing that he won't do for you. And he's the type of person that if you see him outside of football, he's gonna be just as good as dude as I am. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the nicest people in the world. He is genuine. He'd get his shirt off his back and not even know you. He's one of the most highly respected people in my life that I've ever known. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people, and he's definitely like number one as far as somebody that I would want my son to be like, somebody I want my daughter to marry. You know what I'm saying? He's that type of guy. He's an amazing man, and I'm trying to take away from the story of how he was able to become Brandon Graham, how he became BG. Because his first 3 years, man, it was hard on him, man. His first 3 years, he was riddled with injury. He sucked as a player. He wasn't good. He was going through some stuff, not being able to live up to what he thought he should be living up to, coming from the University of Michigan, being a first-round draft choice, getting hurt, changing positions. He did all that his first 3 years. But he made it a point that if he ever got a second chance, he would definitely take that second chance and run with it. And that's exactly what he did. He got a second chance and became all-world here in Philadelphia because he's just a good person. God rewards the people like him. You know what I'm saying? He is just such an awesome type of guy. So he was able to get things going and be the man that we see now, the BG we see now. And Washburn helped him do it the most, you know what I'm saying? Washburn, showed him how to rush the passer and be a guy that's undersized and still be great at what he did. And he took it around with it, man. So not just on the field, like even on the field, he's always a guy that at the end of the game is going to come up with a huge play.
Yeah.
The week he got hurt, I think it was week 12 against the Rams.
Yep.
He stopped a jet sweep, one of the fastest players in the NFL, not just on the field at the time, in the NFL, and stopped it for a tackle for loss. And that's where he got hurt. The Super Bowl, to end the game, here is Tom Terrific going down the field. You know what I'm saying? He could have lost that game. They would have probably lost that game if he was able to keep the ball and continue driving down the field. He was able to go down there, strip sack Brady, and eventually led to us winning the Super Bowl. He's always on time, man, and that's just the type of person he is, man. I mean, highly respected, man, and he's somebody I can call a friend, definitely.
Yeah,
great guy.
You see the impact he has on the teammates. I mean, Nolan Smith can only say but good things about him. He always talked about how that's his vet and how BG is always, making that time for him. Just seeing how Jalen Hurts and BG's relationship has evolved over the years.
Yep.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is a very stoic dude, right? To see Jalen Hurts be able to show a little personality when BG getting retired, they on the stage having fun with it. I mean, it just goes to show the kind of energy BG brings you and the kind of energy he's able to pull out of you as well. So yeah, job well done to him.
Great job, man. Great guy. Yeah,
he left no stone unturned. And like you, my friend, you've left no stone unturned in your career.
You my guy, man. Tone, you sent me the text. You shot me the text. Hey, man, I need you on the show, man. I said, all right, man. Give me a time of the day, and I'll see if you do good. And you said, all right, 12 o'clock. I said, I can't do it at 12 o'clock. I got to be on the show at 12 o'clock. Give me 2:30. He said, all right, 2:30. You have me.
Let's do it, man. And again, man, this is just how NBC Sports has been a home for you for 10 years. This is a home for you as well, my friend. So
appreciate it, man. Definitely
I appreciate you for always making yourself available to me. We family outside of this, man. I know for a fact I can always call on you and tap in with you, man. I know when I wasn't going through some of my best times, me and you was able to have conversations, and we talked to each other.
We had to whoop some ass, you know what I'm saying? We was gonna make it happen.
Exactly.
Make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I almost had to put my hands on some people, man. But we
listen, man. Hey, listen, we ain't want that. But regardless, guy got a guy. He got his way of putting you exactly where you need to be, man. And I could tell you've been blessed beyond belief with your career. Your health, man. You look good. I'm just seeing your transformation, man. You look great. And it's just good to see you doing well, my man. So I appreciate you for taking that time out.
You too, man. Appreciate
for sure.
It.
So you take care. All right. And again, this is home for you. This is home, man. And again, thank you for making yourself available here at Chalk It Up Sports. All right.